Hello there, my name is Carlos Corrales. I'm a senior software engineer. I have more than 10 years of experience working in software engineer and different system solutions in different countries and companies. I've been so lucky on my life to meet a lot of good and great engineers and scientists. And the reason for this channel is to share with you my knowledge and that's maybe a way to just help you with my learning process, with my systems, with my knowledge, the wisdom that I've been getting on my career along the way. So this is my intent. This is the first post that I create for the community. I'm creating these nerd letters blog where I share almost everything that I learn. I've been learning so much, and one of the main issues that I've been having, unfortunately, was in learning. So that's why my first post for this year was about how you should learn. I think this is a problem that most of the people have, and they don't even have the time to think about it. For me, was this year on 2023 when I started, and for the first time in my entire life, I sat down on the floor with all my books that I have bought in my previous years, because I used to buy a lot of books. Most of them I read them right away because I'm interested in what I'm learning, but others, they're just um, over there. I don't even sometimes I don't remember when I bought them or where those books are. I usually put them all of them. I put all of them in behind me, but that was an issue. I started to realize the importance of read write, the importance of learning, the importance to have a system for learning, because I'm spending so much time reading, fixing issues, and reading to fix issues on my entire career, and reading for a certification, or maybe for some type of discussion that I have, or maybe for some meeting, that I think was a pretty important topic to address for the beginning of the year. And by the way, it's just a system that I created. I'm sharing with you this system for free. So here's the post that I wrote. I'm going to read the post, and I'm going to try to discuss with you what I've been thinking when I wrote this letter, with this letter. And I hope you enjoy it. This is going to be also my first podcast. Or we can, because that's another channel that I have to give you for free all the knowledge that I have, and all the knowledge that I can get from you. Because when I say something wrong, you're going to fix that, right? You're going to fix that right away. You're going to say, hey, you're wrong, and I can help you, and you can help me. So here's the post that I wrote. I hope you like it. The year 2023 started, and for the first time in my entire life, I sat down on the floor with all the books that I have bought in my entire life. I used to buy a lot of books by then. Most of them I read right away. Others, I forgot why or when I bought them. Sitting on the cold floor with all the books and my little baby around me, opening and closing every possible page that they could, because I have the babies here when I was doing this exercise, and the baby were like crazy, crying and trying to open all the books, and was pretty hard for me to take all the statistics that I want. But at least I started to do an inventory, trying to know which books were read and which one were not. Fortunately for me, I found a book to fix on my personal systems, but the findings were pretty sad, pretty astonishing, to be honest with you. So let me tell you, in total I had 145 physical books and only 45 read in the 2022 year, which is a low for me, by the way. It's pretty low because I used to read a lot. But the worst thing that I found is that I was only able to recall just a few ideas from a few of them. So listen, I tried I take a notebook and I went book by book, and I tried to recall as much as possible for each book. So I couldn't almost recall anything. So something was wrong and something has to be changed. That moment, I put away all my goals, all everything. I stopped everything, every goal that I have for the entire year. I put a stop on them, and I say, okay, this is going to be my goal for the next month. So for a complete month, and I started to figure out and find out a different way to read and learn. So as you know, I start everything that I've been wondering about with simple questions. So I start questioning how we can learn better, how we can read faster, how I can use more of that knowledge on a day-to-day basis, how to remember more and never forget, how to prioritize learning, how to memorize faster, how to take valuable notes, what tools and devices can increase my efficiency when learning, how to read a book, how to listen to a podcast, how to study a video or a video course, something like that, how to read from the web, Twitter, newsletter, Medium articles, any type of reading articles. How to filter information properly. So we have a lot of information. How we can filter that information in the right way, for we can have the best the best sources, and we don't spend time in no good sources of data. How to track information consume it, and how I can take my notes on those. What tools can help me reading and note taking from the web, podcasts, and videos. How to gain wisdom. How to improve memorization. How to practice more. I started to doing so many questions. I hope this type of podcasts help me to share with you all this type of answer to these questions, and all the type of learning that I've been having when I do the research. That's the main goal of this video. I started to question everything, to be honest with you, to find a different answer to the big problem that I was having. For me, it was a pretty big problem, because if I was spending so much time learning every day and I don't know how to learn properly, for me, I was wasting a lot of time. And that issue needs to be fixed, to be honest. If you think you have that issue, if you think you don't know how to learn, hey, stop everything and take some time. You can read from here, you can read from the internet, and start to do your own system when learning. I hope these type of posts serve you as a guide for them. But you need to understand that if you are a scientist, if you are an engineer, I'm a software engineer, but if you are a scientist or an engineer, your profession, the quality of your profession, or how you realize your profession, how you develop, how you get to a different level, depends a lot on how you assess information, new information, how you learn new skills. So that's what I think this is pretty important. So at first instance seems to be not a big deal, but knowledge is an important topic that needs to be addressed by every person, that need to be addressed seriously, and apparently most of the people did not. I had not, to be honest. So here's my learning system that I create. The learning system has different stages and has different characteristics of any of those stages. And today I'm going to this is just the beginning, right? So we have other posts. I think I have a wisdom management system and a second brain note taking system. So these are the first three posts about personal system that will help you understand how I learn, how you can get these type of knowledges for you and apply it on your daily basis on how you learn, how you do your research. So I hope you enjoy it. This is the other part that is named the learning system. After spending a complete month researching this topic, I created a personal system that I hope addresses mostly all the questions and increase my learning efficiency. Here's what I'm sharing with you for free. Okay, the learning system, I call it learning system, that I created, started for me, has 3 stages. So this is I created this after reading a lot, after reading and seeing a lot of videos. So this is what I think is work for me. It's not the this type of system and your personal system are not always completed. I need you to tell you this, and you need to understand that every personal system you create is in evolving constantly. So it's a perpetual evolution. I like this concept of perpetual evolution. So I hope you get it like this. Please share your ideas here. But just to let you know, this is just the starting point of my learning system. I hope I started to enjoy this when using it, and also to improve it on the same time that I'm using it. And at the same time, I'm going to share with you how I change things and how I improve certain areas of stages in this case. So the first stage is funnel information. This is the first stage you need to address. So you spend the whole day researching and taking information from the social media application, or for internet. Let's call it internet, because internet is everything, right? So let's call it internet. So how you funnel information for me was pretty important. That was the first thing to address. I was reading a lot of sites. I was accessing to from getting data from a lot of applications, but at the end, that data, I didn't have like a specific characteristics to be filtered. And if you don't have that type of filter and those type of specific characteristics, how you're going to address what information is the best to read and which one is not. So for this stage, I create a process for listing and filtering when looking for references. I used to bookmark everything, and of course, like you may be, I always end up with a lot of references in different places that were never found when I need them. So finding a good reference is important, and filtering and selecting the right information is most important, because at the end is the information that you're going to consume, right? That you're going to read, that you're going to see, that you're going to listen. And until here, so I think you get the point. There are two processes and two steps here in the stage number one that is pretty important for you to understand. So you need to have a good place where you can put all your references and another set of conditions to filter that reference, or those references that you already saved. So in my case, any information, data, or books that I find interesting, I send it to my inbox. This is a personal treat, a personal tool that I developed for this, and I'm going to share the idea with you. So what I do is everything that I found interesting, I send an email with the link, with the image, with the PDF, with the data, with whatever I found on the internet. I send an inbox email. I have a rule on Outlook. I use Outlook for mainly for this Outlook, my Outlook account. So I have a rule filter that all these these emails are filtered inside a specific folder. Okay, so when the email enters to the inbox, the rule gets triggered and the emails go to the specific folder. I have a Python script that collects all the data and save this data into an .mdf file that I have inside my knowledge management system. I used to call it KMS, but it's basically just a second brain project that I have with Foam and Visual Studio Code. So a lot of people use a second brain with, I think it's called Obsidian and Notion. There are the other two pretty cool tools that you can use for this. I don't like to have dependencies of external tools. So the less here in this type of system. One of the things that I learned on this research is the less. Well, it's not only on this research, to be honest with you. It's with everything that happened in my life. Every time that I have some complexity on everything, I try to put some simple rules and simplify that thing, because it's going to be better for you to understand it. Okay, to grasp the basic knowledge of what you need. So I like simple things. So the less things that I have is better for me. The less step is better for me. So I put everything in that second brain project. But you can use Notion or Obsidian. For me, it's better to use Visual Studio Code because I'm using it on a daily basis, and with one plugin, I was getting all the features that I need for this type of project. So now the relevant information is saved in a specific and unique place, and tragically used to quench my curiosity. In general, this state is for three things: identifying best sources and authors. I used to call it masters. What master means for me, when I find a topic, when I want to research something, I always go to the masters, and after that I go master of authors. When I see a person that has written like 3, 4, 5 books on the same topic, that person has my attention. If that topic has, if I'm interested in this topic, for example, sometime I was researching value investing, and I found softwaredevelopment. It's one of the greatest professor on NYC. That guy, I think I have all the books. I bought all the books for hours as what the model than. I'm not a financial guy. I'm a software engineer, but if I see a person that puts so much intent and intention and work behind it, behind a specific topic, I want to be interested of what this person is thinking, because that person for me is a master. So this is pretty important to identify master and the best resources that those masters recommend and also create. Selecting sources and base information type depending on topic or questions. That's the second thing you need to have as important on this stage. And centralized reference collection. Most of all, previously to this space, I was putting all the collections in every place. So I have I have Chrome, I use Edge, I have Chrome for other things, and I was saving collections and bookmarking everything in different places. So everything right now is centralized, and everything right now is filtered in the right way with the right condition. You can be, as I say, I read a lot of articles with people have a specific set of conditions. Maybe you in your industry or wherever you are going to, or how you're going to use these processes, maybe you need other type of filters, but this is just an idea of, this is just the starting point, and this is what worked for me. Okay, let's go to stage number 2. Stage number 2, active learning or indexing. This is how I call this stage. This is a pretty important stage as the first one, but this is pretty important because here's where you really learn. Indexing for me is put information in your brain for that information gets there as much time as possible. And for that, you need to know a few different things that I didn't know and I didn't understand, to be honest. So the information must be learned intentionally and strategically. Notes and ideas must be written and memorized and should answer a specific question that you want to know about any specific topic. So let's talk about these first sentences. Before this stage definition of my learning process, I didn't understand how to learn properly, to be honest with you. But neither I didn't know how to memorize and the importance of memorization in how we recall information and how we use it and how we think with that information that we memorize. So for me, memorization is pretty important right now, and I hope you, after reading this article, put more attention on how to memorize concepts and ideas and things, because it's pretty important. It's hard work. I'm still working on this because this is pretty important system for me, and I'm still trying to develop best way to memorize things. So I'm learning still here, but I didn't understand the importance of memorization. If you are a software engineer, for example, as I am, and you don't memorize concept, definitions, diagrams, mental model, mental maps on your specific area, so it's going to be hard for you to think further, to improve your thinking and to improve the solutions you build. So for me, memorization, I hope for you, memorization gets an important attention here. Gaining skills also come with practice, but practice can be improved with thinking. I'm thinking, as I told you, with memorization. So when active learning, which for me is different from just learning. So I was learning before. My opinion was trying to learn before. Now I think I'm more active when learning. I try to memorize. I try to take more notes. I try to be more organized. I try to do memorizations for the same concepts that I create. I try to recall that information on the time, but I'm going to tell you more. Information is consumed from different sources in parallel, so with no specific order at the same time. Present as much information to your brain and let them index what is relevant to it, and repeat until you find a certain amount of knowledge depth. I used to call it also knowledge levels. I used to do that for a specific and defined amount of time, and after I just follow the step highlighted below. Okay, let me just go to describe this, what I was thinking here. So, okay, let me just tell you the step. Let me tell you the steps. In general, this stage is having different steps. The first step, define questions to answer. Pretty important step. Second step, select key definition, concepts, structures, and ideas. Third step, segregate depth of knowledge. If each depth of level of understanding defines a different set of concepts and ideas to learn and understand. In this stage, I use iteration to determine what to learn in each depth level. Consume data and research. Create memorization objects, image association, mental palaces, mental maps, flashcards. Recalling, spell repetition, speak out loudly repetition, listening repetition, recording repetition, handwritten repetition. So this postcard that I'm trying to that I'm recording for you. This is another way of recalling and another way to include speak out loud repetition. So that's why it's important. Let me tell you the latest step. Step number 7, repeat until the next level of understanding. I'm going to show you my project here really quick on this, but I need you to understand the main idea here is that when you're researching a new topic, the normal thing that you might be doing is just you try to get a few courses or a video or a podcast or a book, and you try to read them all. Okay? And I can tell you that it's a better and effective way to do this. So instead of do that, just go define iteration. How you define iteration? If you don't know, if you don't understand a specific topic, well, you go 3, 4, 5, you find different, you select different sources, different authors, and you go to the index, for example. You go to the summary. You go to the main idea. You go to the notes. You can go also to the almost always on the back side of the books, on the textbook books. There are a lot of notes from the same author. So you go to those stages and you try to recall. You try to understand what this author is trying to explain you without reading the book. Happens the same with the video. You can go a little bit further with the video. You can put you can see a video or hover over the video and see how you can get at least the first understanding of the idea that that video wants to share with you, or that data source of that book wants to share with you. So for me, I understand that in having a lot of questions defined, my goal when learning is trying to answer those questions. But of course, from the first time or for the first iteration, it's impossible for me to understand this new topic, and I'm not going to answer all the questions at the same time. So why put so attention on that part? I'm trying to understand everything. So you go define those concept structures, define your first ideas, your key definitions, and try to put them all as a note. You put them all as a note. You create flashcard. For me, flashcard is just a note that you can use for recalling. So a note, let me repeat this one. A flashcard is just a note that you create for recalling, but you can create notes in different ways. You don't need to put the information as the same it is in the book. If you have a concept to understand, and you maybe create an image that remember that concept for you, it's easy to understand that concept and recalling that concept for you if you have that image in your brain, because you are including a spell repetition. Sorry, you are including the visual part of the brain that is pretty powerful when you are trying to recall this information. So and after that, well, there is also hard work. You need to recall. You need to recall a lot. You need to recall a lot the information you consume. So there is a different type of step that I'm not going to touch in this podcast, because at the end, recalling, you can do it in a lot of ways. I'm building my own application, but you can use other application. Anki Pro is one of the other applications that most of the people use. You can put all your notes there, and you can use it on the desktop, on the phone. You can use it whatever you want, right? But this is pretty important. Recalling information is pretty important. You put all these 7 steps under this stage number 2, that is called active learning, in a loop, in an endless loop. Why? Because you define a topic, you define the questions, you define the sources to analyze, you create some type of flashcard concept ideas, and after that you go and try to understand them, try to memorize them, take some notes, and repeat until you understand onto the level that you want. And this is the main idea of this system, and this is this is the core of the system. These 7 steps is the core. If you're going to remember something for this specific post and video that I'm doing and postcard that I'm doing for you, remember this. I think it's such an important steps that I'm going to repeat it with you. So stage 2 for active learning and indexing information to your brain the right way has 7 steps. The first, define question to answer. Second, select key definitions, concepts, structures, and ideas. The third, segregate depth of knowledge. Remember that each depth or level of understanding defines a different set of concepts and ideas to learn and understand. In this stage, you use iteration to determine what to learn in each depth level. 4, consume data and research. 5, create memorization objects. You can create mnemonics, image associations, mental palace, mental maps, flashcards. Number 6, recalling. You can do recalling through space repetition, speak out loud repetition, listening repetition, recording repetition, handwritten repetition, and 7, repeat onto the next level of understanding. And you repeat and repeat and repeat. And stage number 3 is pretty easy, pretty important, but is almost one of the harder to do for most of the people. For me, it was pretty hard. That's one of the reasons I'm trying to do this, is because it's so hard for me that I had to go over it. So stage number 3, delivering. In this stage, I think I write and I create a video, a podcast, or something to share with the world. I deliver to the world my understanding, my thinking. I challenge myself to expose my ideas and knowledge in such a way, in such a different way, that you and I can learn. And I can learn from you when I'm wrong or right? Because at the end, I know you are going to tell me, hey, that's a great post, or that's not as good as I thought, or maybe that's you need to improve on that area, man. So knowledge needs to be interconnected. So I analyze my second brain knowledge graph and see what pieces of data is missing in my understanding of each specific topic. I'm going to talk about the second brain notes project on maybe another podcast, but today I was just going to present you the first learning system or personal system that I developed and was specifically for learning. This is a pretty important topic that you need to address. I'm going to share with you really quick a summary of what I brought here. So you have learning processes, how you learn, how you consume information. This should be pretty important for you. Why? Because you spend a lot of time. If you are a scientist, if you are an engineer, you are spending a lot of time consuming information. So having a defined system for everything in life is important, but for learning, since you are using a lot of time for learning, is pretty important. So basically I defined 3 stages. The first stage was funneling information. Stage number 2, active learning and indexing. This is for really learning in a different way. And stage number 3, delivering what you learn, and create content and create videos and create whatever you want, but create something that people can see you. Because in this era, the most important concept that I want to share with you in this era is not about how much you know, it's about how often you improve other people's life with what you know and what you do with that information that you understand better than others. So see you in the next podcast. I'm pretty happy to share this with you. Join me in my nerd letters. I'm here. I'm writing for you here in this blog post, nerdletters.blogspot.com. I also have my LinkedIn, Carlos Corrales, and my YouTube channel, Carlos Corrales. I also have a newsletter that is called Nerd Letters. I hope you like this name For me, I love it, and I'm going to share in the coming podcast why I put that name. It's pretty important story that I want to share with you. But see you in the next video, and see you in the next podcast, see you in the next blog, see you in the next newsletter. I hope you like and share this content that I'm trying to deliver to you in the best way possible. And bye.